Those who are new, just wanted to let you know, so this is the last lesson of our free course. So we like a kind of had a free course, and this is the last lesson. So we had 8 lessons. This is the 8 lessons. So we had 8 lessons, and people were learning about QA, about coding, about test automation, and data science. And this is the last lesson to discuss that. So I know that many people who joined, they come from Meetup. Some of you probably saw as only one, single event, but actually that was just, this is the last lesson of the big course. Like we had it for the last 3 weeks. And my name is Arthur. I'm a teacher at TechStart, and I was responsible for key part on this course. And we are recording every lesson so people can reach out later and actually watch everything in etc. So let me quickly share my screen, and I will show you what I mean. Okay. Are you able to see my screen, guys? Let me know once you're able to see my screen. I lost it. Okay, seems like you should be able. So this is the course, and here is what I mean. So we had 7 lessons already. This is the 8th one, and there are recordings. So for those who wants to go back and watch all those recordings, this is the information for you. This is the platform for you, and you will just need to register, and you will be automatically added to this course if you want to see it from the beginning and understand what are we talking about. But today's topic is actually to discuss job market, right? This is the goal of today's lesson. After the entire course, people need to understand, because the goal of this course was for people who want to get IT profession to understand if this is something they would like to do. So they tried a little bit QA, a little bit of coding, a little bit of test automation, a little bit of data science. And of course, the main question is, okay, even if we learn this, how about the job market, right? How the job market looks like right now, and if we would be able to find a job, right? So this is the main question. That's the topic of today's lesson. Okay, before I start talking about that, does anybody have any questions? Would be you sharing the recording. So this is how we do. So this is the first question from Lily. The recording. So the recording will be in 2 places. Let me go to YouTube. Let me switch to TechStart. And my channel, videos.
Can see your screen.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I will share my screen. I'm sorry for that. So we have the TechStart channel. Let me do this. So free course. So free course. So this is the last free course that we have recorded. This is one place. This is one place just with the recordings. I will send you this playlist. So it has all the 7 lessons, and after today it will be 8 lessons. So let me send it to you first. So this is YouTube. There will be the recording of this lesson. That's one thing. And there are other recordings. However, that thing doesn't have our platform. So this is where we actually host all our courses. So actually, if you want to get the access to slides and homeworks that people were doing, because there are homeworks, slides, homeworks, and etc. All the materials are on our platform. So basically what you need to do is you need to go to our platform and just create an account, and that's it. You just create an account, and automatically you will have, let me log in as a test user. You will get such screen. You go to courses and you will see this course, free 12. You open it and you have all the lessons. All the recordings are here. You click them and you get directly to the video. You can see slides and everything else. So let me send you the registration link as well. First of all, let me send you the registration link. After that, we will platform. Let me say platform. Yeah, because I know that some of you because of Meetup. You came from Meetup, and for you it was standalone lesson about job market. But for many people here, they actually took the entire course, and they actually have just the last lesson. So for them, it's the complete course. Give me a second. My wife is here, just wants to say something. Yeah, she just wanted to say hello. Okay. So YouTube platform, it's all here. So good. Also, for those people who took the course, here's the new. This is what we were doing. So they were doing the homeworks. So this is the situation, guys, right? Some people like Elena, Mike, almost Lara, almost Alexandra, almost Ellie. So guys, this is what I need. You complete 4 homeworks, and then I give you 50% discount for the first month of the main course. So this is what people are doing this for. So if you see your name here and some of your homeworks are not completed, you still have 2 weeks. You still have 2 weeks. I'll post the end date in our Slack, and you still have 2 weeks to complete those homeworks. I will post the end date. If you complete that by that date, I will send you the link to the bonus in personal messages. So Yelena, Svetlana, Mike, good job. I'll send you those links already tonight after this lesson. For the rest people, once you complete the 4th homework here, or here, I'll send you the link. So the rest of the people, some of them have 2 homeworks to complete, some of them just have 1 homework to complete, and etc. So those are basically project assignments. So for K, it was test cases creation and bug reporting. For JavaScript, it was some little bit coding in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay, that's pretty much it. So let me switch back, and let's switch to the main topic. What is the job search? We will also talk today about resume creation, and also we will talk about interview preparation. So just we'll give you some tips and some insights about that. Okay, before I start, any questions so far from anybody about job search? Maybe from people taking the course, you have some questions. Anybody? Okay, so far no questions, but feel free, feel free to stop me. Either raise your hand. Yes, let me show you what to do. Okay, I see. Maria, go ahead.
Yes. What do you recommend where to look for a job? Which platform?
I use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my favorite, but you can use whatever you want. You can use Indeed, you can use monster.com, and many others. Even there's angels.com used for like startups. You can find it's not only for the job search, like startups looking for investors there as well, but there are many jobs in startups as well. So you can use many platforms, whatever, jobs.com, whatever has jobs in IT. But I prefer LinkedIn. It's very easy to filter out the jobs there and etc. So I used last time LinkedIn, and I will be showing LinkedIn today as well. So LinkedIn is my must-have platform because you have a professional profile there in LinkedIn. And that's what we do. During the mini course, we work on resumes first. Then once we have the resume ready, we create, no, I'm sorry, right away. So we create LinkedIn right away once we start the course. It's one of the first lessons. So people who don't have LinkedIn account, they create LinkedIn. Who has LinkedIn account, they just update it to IT looking LinkedIn. And during the course, they start building their community. So they start adding people to their friend list. Other people start adding them. So by the end of the course, like our goal is to have at least like 500 contacts in LinkedIn. Then, like in the middle of the course, we start working on the resume. So they prepare the resume. Once the resume is approved, they move the information from the resume into LinkedIn. So they have professionally looking IT account, right? And then probably month before the end of the course, like we have 3 months course for QA manual, for example. So the last month is basically job search. So we do mock interviews, and they start applying for the jobs using their profile. So that's why you use LinkedIn, because you already have like a resume, your picture, your job experience, your skills, everything is set up there by the end of the course. And you use LinkedIn, it's very easy to use. That's why I personally always look for the jobs there as well. And Elvira just said that she found her job on LinkedIn as well. And you will
Um,
get many messages, so you have skills there. It's like social platform, social network. So many recruiters, they will be reaching out to you through messages on LinkedIn. And and I have a seems like I have a job for you. Seems like your skills are matching with what I need. So they will be reaching out to you. And Elvira said that, for example, a recruiter reached out to her directly on LinkedIn. Yes, Maria, go ahead.
yes. Is there some words you should avoid in your resume? Yep.
What do you mean by words? So we have
Because
yeah, go ahead.
because it's usually computer choosing, as I heard, and there's supposed to be some keywords which, well, they you not supposed to use some keywords which not supposed to, and you should use some keywords which helps you to be chosen.
I wouldn't say that we like reject people based on some keywords, and I wouldn't say that computers are choosing. So this is how it looks like, basically how it's been on my previous jobs and on my current job. So we use usually some platform for processing those resumes, work with candidates, send those automatic emails. For example, right now I'm using Greenhouse. So basically, you have a position open. It's open on the Greenhouse. People can apply to those positions, and you get resumes. And it's getting assigned to that person who has this, like, hiring manager who has this position open in their organization. They get notifications, hey, you got new resume, you got new resume. So they just overview and click button reject, move to the next round, reject, move to the next round. So those are people reviewing and just moving to the next round or not. So the only suggestion would be is just to apply as soon as the position open, because hiring managers, they review maybe like 30 resumes. If they got like 10 candidates already, they will start interviewing them and continue reviewing the other resumes. If they got a candidate they want to go to the next round, they like stop reviewing because it seems like they already found somebody. So one rule is to apply for the job as soon as it's open. And I will be showing you on LinkedIn, this is what we do. We add the filter, the jobs added in the last 24 hours, right? So because it's still a lot, there will be like more than 1,000 jobs a day, right? So that's one suggestion. So you apply for the jobs added in the last 24 hours, and you like raise your chance to get a job in that case. And there is still like 1,000 jobs added a day for a specific position in the United States. So you still are not able to apply to all of them. That's basically the idea. Maybe you apply for like 50 days, 100. I would say that you are a beast if you apply for 100 jobs a day, right? So, and there are like 1,000 jobs a day added. So you have that more than enough. You just, filter them out and apply to the last 24 hours jobs only, and higher your chances to be reviewed and being called to the interview. Usually it's the first interview with recruiter, the second interview with hiring manager, then technical interview with, like, if you are applying for automation job, there will be automation guys interviewing you. If developer position, with developers interviewing you. And usually there is even third interview. It's for like cultural fit. You talk with people you will be working with. For example, technical interview, usually QAs interview QAs, right? Because they want to check your skills, if you fit into this position skill-wise. But the third interview is for people that will be working with you outside QA, because team is usually consists of like QAs, developers, business analysts, or product owners, scrum masters, and etc. Right? So those people will interview you just to see if you're a nice person they want to work with. So there are like usually even 4 rounds if you count recruiter. So it's 4 rounds of interviews. sometimes. I had once 5 rounds or 6 even, because the last interview was with CEO. So the company had specific like approach to hire people. So the last round was with CEO, and CEO had to approve all the people hired. So it was like interesting experience. And he was asking, more like, again, cultural wise, if you fit into the organization, if you value what they're doing, something like that. That's basically what was there. Okay, Irina Slobodinuki. I'm sorry. Did I ask your question, Maria?
Yes,
You answered your question? Okay. Thank you. So then Irina is asking in the chat, if I just joined the course, do I have a chance to finish your homework and get a discount? The answer is yes. Irina, we expect people to join late because, we put just couple events on Meetup, for example, and many people were joining from Meetup. Some people heard from their friends who joined the course, and they heard from their friends like, hey, I'm taking the course, and they enjoy late. So yes, we start the new course, the main big course on August 14th, right? So you still have like 2 weeks to complete the homeworks. I will publish the last final date in our Slack. If you're not there yet, you will need to join our Slack. How to do that? You join the platform, and on the platform you have a link to join a Slack. So once you're in Slack, you will be able in our chat, because we have a huge chat. And Slack, for those who don't know, Slack is just like main messenger used in IT. So not even in IT, but used by the companies to have multiple chats, team chats, company-wide chats, like work messenger that is used especially in IT. Okay, so if I join what is your view on the job posting with screening technical question on assignments? I've seen companies ask you to make a video about yourself. Is it worth investing in time in each company, or just focus on easier application, apply as many as possible? Also, I'm wondering how important is the quality of cover letter. Most companies that make it a requirement, but it's important to include one. The recruiters read these closely. Thank you for sharing. I never saw people paying too much attention to cover letters. Yes, companies may use different systems, and those may require your cover letter to be included. Like, hey, it's a required field, please attach your cover letter. So what I was doing all the times, I, of course, created my cover letter template. You can ask ChatGPT to write it for you. You can just Google and find the example of cover letter. And it's usually very, very general, like, hey, I'm thinking I will be good fit in your position, and my skills, and you list your skills, would be good fit for this role, and etc., something like that. And you just send them that. So you have a template, and then you put the company name once you apply for this position, their company name, and then you put specific skills that they have on the job description, that cover letter, and you send that. So how about so basically nobody, in my experience, nobody's paying attention to cover letter. It just, as a requirement, like in many job descriptions, you can see bachelor degree in computer science is required. It's I'm sorry for my French, it's bullshit, but nobody's checking that. Nobody's checking your certificates, nobody's checking your level of education. Nobody's doing that, because most of QA people that are working in the industry, they are not people who got the computer science degree. Most of them are like people came from different other fields and just became QA at some point. So that's what happens. Sometimes husband works as a developer and then says his wife, hey, there's a possibility to work as a QA in my company. Let me refer you. There is nothing difficult to do. And people sometimes even getting hired without an experience, or without any courses, without any diploma, nothing, right? Just being referred. Other situation, once I joined one company as a QA manager, and I had to establish all the QA process from scratch. There were 0 QAs. was actually testing team, but zero QAs, because all those people were just moved from support department. So those were people sitting on the call and answering questions from the consumers. And since they learned the system pretty well, working on that job, they have been moved to QA department and being told, test. We will tell you what to test and just test that it works correctly. So they didn't have any processes, any understanding what QA is, and etc. So I had to establish everything there. So that's basically what happened. What happens? This is very simple job, and that's why we call it the gate into IT. Nothing difficult, and people get there without any education and etc. But in many job descriptions, you see bachelor degree as a requirement. Nobody's asking for that. Nobody's asking for certificates, diplomas, and etc. So you just apply if you have skills, and you just basically come to the interview and people ask you, hey, can you do this? Explain me how to do this. Okay, do you have experience with this? Okay, let's imagine the situation. How would you act in this situation? So you just answer those questions based on your knowledge that you got during some courses. And if you have the right skills, you're being hired. And that's how people, for example, we have Elvira. I see Elvira is raising her hand. She can tell her experience, right? She graduated from the courses. She found, Elvira, correct me if I'm wrong, but you found the lead position, by the way, after the courses.
Oh, well, my situation is that, can you hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. So I was initially hired as a automation tester, and my boss suggested pretty much over like maybe in some time, like over like in 6 months, I can be a test lead. So I'm gonna get promoted soon. It feels like I will, hopefully. But the thing is, I wanted to say that you're absolutely right about that. People that work in QA don't really have to have bachelor in computer science. Like in my department, I'm working for a staffing corporation. So we have a lot of testers that been working successfully for like 7 years as manual testers, simply because they know the business. They know the staffing processes, they understand the system well, and they are able to perform system testing. And I'm actually spending maybe 80% of my time working with them, even though they're not real testers. They're not technical at all. They don't know anything about like coding, even HTML. And everything that I do for them, I write automation in Cypress. It looks like a rocket science, and they go, wow, how do you do that? And so I guess maybe in the future, I'm going to be able to train them to use the same tools that I'm using. And yeah, so the thing is, it is not rocket science, and everybody can do that. Yeah,
No, don't train them. Don't send them to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm happy for you. Are you happy with your job?
Yeah, I'm loving my job, and the team is amazing. They're they're really friendly and supportive. So yeah,
Awesome.
I'm really happy.
Okay, Yelena, do you have a question?
Yes, thank you. What about the years of experience? Because most of the jobs, they require like years, and because I looked on this sites like Indeed and stuff, and most of the jobs they require years, and we're talking about 5. And so
Yeah, so this is a very interesting question, a very great question, because
And up.
yeah, there.
Five,
Go ahead.
now 14, was 10. It's like every day they're raising the years.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you well. Can you repeat that, please?
They rising the years like every day. I don't know. I'm watching. There was 5 years minimum, then 7, then 10. Right now I saw 14 years. It's crazy.
No, I believe it's like, yeah, you're right, but there was one. I don't remember when it was done, but so one company, they did a research and they asked hiring managers about if they know that people lie in their resumes. So 70% said yes. And then they ask another question: do you care about people lying in the resumes? And 78% says that they don't care, because basically, you know, your resume is like advertisement. So when you open a restaurant, this is the example I love to use. Let's say you open a restaurant, your family restaurant. You are not going to say that it's a regular restaurant in your city, you know, don't come there, and etc. You say this is the best restaurant. So your resume is your advertisement. The only goal that your resume plays is basically to bring you to the interview. Once you go to the interview, those are separate skills. You have to just show your skills and your knowledge in the field, and that's pretty much it. So people don't care, hiring managers don't care about what you write in your resume, because they will check if you can do the job or not. For example, if you apply for automation position, they will give you tasks, coding tasks. And you have to complete it. You have to share your screen and write the code in front of them and complete it like in 20 minutes, for example, right? So you write the code, explain what you do, say, okay, I would do probably like this and this. So they check if you can do. They say, okay, go and find me an element on the page. Go inspect that page, find an element. Go and build a selector for that element for automation to be used, right? And etc. So they will check if you really can do the job. So that's why they don't care. But again, how you get the experience? This is how we do, and this is what probably everybody does. So first of all, so what everybody does. So in order for you to be attractive, you have to put, yes, 5 years into your resume, and that's how we do. We first of all, our core, they're like project based, right? So we have real product, we have all the systems that companies use. We like pay licenses for like a regular company, right? We have the system that we use. So you work on the requirements, you create test cases, all in the system that's used by other companies. So like work on the project during the course, you work on the project and you get experience. We have those sprints, cycles. Every 2 weeks we have a new cycle, like regular company. So basically, when you learn QA on our course, you kind of like get experience as well, and you understand how company works, what you do every 2 weeks, how those sprints look like, and that's what we do. So you kind of like get experience for 3 months. Then what we do, we say, okay, now you have to write in your resume that you have been doing that for 3 years, for the last 3 years, and this specific company. We have a list of companies that you put in your resume. And you put that you do this for 3 last years. Plus, what we do, let's say 2 more years. So because this job will be very complex, because our course includes Postman and writing even on manual course, we write automated tests in Postman. They're very simple, but basically this is something that even manual QA can do. So people write automated tests in Postman. Then they clone the repo from automation repo and do some small changes, and they even clone the repo to their computer for front end, for web development, and even do small fixes there as a manual case, because they learn JavaScript in parallel. So we kind of like, by the end of the course, we want them to have those skills. So they have a pretty complex and pretty cool looking job in their resumes, like, hey, I was working on that, was even working with the code, automation code, contributing even to development code, very cool skills. And then what we say, okay, and let's add, like before that, like 3 years ago, you also had a job for 2 years, but it was very simple QA job, very manual, no coding at all, no even simple coding, very manual entry-level job. So basically they have one job for 2 years, very simple, very like entry-level, and the next job, which is the last 3 years, basically what they just did on the course with fresh understanding how the job looks like, the tools, the technologies they use, and everything else. So that's basically how you cheat. You create your resume with 5 years of experience. You use some companies that are provided to you, and To do that, you get the instructions how to create, and you apply for jobs. What happened? But you will ask probably, okay, but how can I prove that? So this is a backdoor to IT industry. So basically, your resume is your advertisement. The only goal it plays to bring you to the interview. That's basically it. So you get to the interview, you have nice looking resume, and then you have to pass the interview. It's absolutely separate topic. For example, the last month of the course, we just do mock interviews. Just prepare, interview people, provide the feedback, then another mock interview, feedback, another mock interview, feedback. The last month is just basically all mock interviews and just preparation, relaxation, just to be ready and to understand how the interview looks like. That's a separate skill. So you have to learn how to be professional during the interview. And of course, here's the secret. Here's my secret, even without the course. So basically, the 90% of success is how you behave. If they like you during the interview as a personality or not. The other stuff, like your skills, it's also important. But if you answer questions so-so, but they liked you, you were smiling, you were open, they were having good time talking to you, you were not trying to lie and be better than you are. You were just honestly saying, oh, I'm sorry, I never worked with that. If they ask you something that you never worked with, you don't try to answer the question. You just honestly tell them, never worked with that. So you're being open. If you're stressing, you honestly tell them, hey, I'm worrying about the results of the interview right now. I'm sorry, I'm kind of in stress right now. I'm sorry for that. I don't know why, but you tell them that honestly. So if you behave like that, 90% of success already there. Then if you answer questions, not 100%, you may not answer some questions. You may not use some some technologies they use on that position. It's absolutely okay. You get the job because they just liked you. And the reason is very simple, because we will work. If I hire a person, if I have an opening in my company and I hire somebody, let's say I have two candidates. One of them is 20 years of experience. 20 years of experience, all the skills, super cool person, knows everything, but I'm not comfortable talking with that person. That person thinks that he or she is smarter than everybody, so you will have to argue with that person. So you kind of even during the interview, you feel not comfortable talking to some person. You are not hiring that person if that's an ideal match for this position, skill-wise. You have another person, nice person to work with, just nice conversation, super lovely person, and just didn't answer some questions. You take that responsibility to teach that person, because you know that this person you will be comfortable with working with going forward. Because imagine tomorrow, if you hire this person, tomorrow you will be working with that person daily. If that person is a drama, you will have drama every day. If that person thinks that they're smarter than others, you will have to argue every day and just make them do something, and etc. So you think carefully, and basically you make decision emotionally. You just see, okay, who you like the most as a personality, and then you see, okay, who answered the questions the best. So if you have two people that you like as a personality, you choose between them, and who basically answered more questions correctly, have more skills, you hire that person. But again, the first decision is made based on personality, and then only then the next, okay, I have two people, or I have three people that were nice to talk to and seems like nice to work with. So let's decide between them who will go next, who will go to the next round. So this is how decisions are made. Decisions are made emotionally, and then people try to justify who was better candidate and who had more skills and etc. So just to let you know, often there are referrals. Okay, some developer refers his friend or his wife or somebody else. That is also bias, but people tend to hire wives or of their friends, or those people that refer to the company. So referrals are important, because people tend to hire those people with referrals. Why? Because I know Bobby, he's a good guy. He wants his wife to work in our company. Why should I I should help them. I should help their family. So people tend to do that as well. So that's why, here's the secret: your skills, your correct answers, your resume doesn't matter. What really matters, how just people like you, how you talk, how you communicate during the interview. Are you being honest? Believe me, if your kids running in, two situations, you start pushing them and saying, "Oh, I'm sorry," and you start pushing them out, you don't look good. But you say, "Oh, I'm sorry, my kids just came." Okay, say hello, so you relax. You relax. You know that how that very popular video when one guy had a BBC interview and his kid, like 3 kids, came into the room and he was trying to push them out. It's so embarrassing right now, and that's a meme right now. Everybody knows that on the internet, right? That guy who had the interview on BBC. Don't be like that. Be relaxed. Be honest. If you're stressing, nerving, tell those people, I don't know why, but I'm stressing. I'm sorry for that. Just to let you know, people will try to relax you, and it's not about only them choosing you, but you choosing them as well. If they're nice and they want to help you, you want to get the job, right? Because it seems like those people are super nice. They want to help you. You want to work with them as well. So interview is not about only them choosing you, but you choosing them as well, right? So that's the next step. So resume again, we have a cheat there. Then interview, what we do here, we train how to behave correctly, provide a feedback. So you are kind of like getting more relaxed. Sometimes that doesn't work. So this is how it worked for me when I was looking for my first job 10 years ago. I had to get rejected 10 times. So I found my job from 11th interview. So I had to get rejected 10 times, because what happens, you kind of like, you are stressing the first couple interviews. You're afraid of being rejected when you go to the interview, and you are in stress, and that doesn't allow you to answer questions correctly and be focused, and etc. At some point, you kind of get used to being rejected. So you go to the next interview and you don't care. Okay, I'm being rejected all the times, so let's just go to the next one, just have a conversation and just forget about it. And then you go and you relax, and then you don't expect anything from that interview, and then they give you job offer. That's basically what happens to another type of people. So either you understand during that month of intense preparations, mock interviews, that you need to relax right away and just do not expect anything from that interview. Let's happen whatever happens. Or you kind of get in stress, go through many interviews, and at some point you just don't care. And at that point, when you don't care, you go to the next interview, just have a nice conversation, you are relaxed, you are not expecting anything, and you get a job offer. Then what happened next? You get a job offer, and they send you the background check. And you think, okay, so how can I prove my job experience now, right? I don't have anything in my, so I have whatever I have in my resume is like nothing, it's not existing. So what do? You tell the truth in background check, because nobody compares that with the resume. This is basically the backdoor. So this is the process. You have your resume, good looking, your advertisement with 5 years of experience minimum. You go to the interview, you prove your skills, you get the job offer. Then they basically do background verification. And background verification is not done by the company. Background verification is done by third-party service. So companies usually don't have specific people doing just background check. They just buy a service from companies, just doing that for 100% of their time. So there are specific companies doing just background checks. So they buy a service, they pay monthly fees to be able to do background checks for as many people as they want, right? Like you buy Netflix subscription, same thing. They buy background check subscription. So the third-party company does the background check. They send the background check, report, and what the company is looking for, pass. And luckily, nobody compares your resume with the background check results and what you mentioned there, your jobs, and etc. So basically, if you work on Uber, you mentioned I work on Uber. If you worked on something else before, you mentioned what you worked on before. You tell the truth in the background check. So resume, your advertisement with 5 years of experience in IT and QA, Then interview, you show your skills based on what you've learned during the course. And then background check, absolute truth. Doesn't matter. You worked there, you mentioned there. And that's how people get the jobs. Elvira, correct me if I'm wrong.
In my case, maybe I'm lucky. During the background check, they only verified that I don't have any criminal records, and they also verified my home address. So it was pretty easy. But from my friend's experience, it went well. No question asked, as long as they provided the correct information. And yeah, so
You have to tell the truth. For example, even my case, I came to the United States 7 years ago, and when I was looking for the first jobs here, when I came first, I had that break because I have to get my documents first. So for a couple months, almost like 8 months, I was working on a construction. I was doing siding, tile installation, floor installations. I was doing that, and I had to mention that in background check, but there is no such thing in my resume. In my resume, there is no break. In my experience, nothing. But I mentioned that because why? Because you have to prove that. You have to get the contact of your employer, and they will have to prove that you really work for them with pay stubs, sometimes with tax forms and etc. So basically, that's why we tell the truth in background check, because your goal is to pass it, getting check marks. I even had a case when my student was applying for a government position, and he had, oh man, they're going to fire me. How I'm gonna pass the background check? And I told him, hey, the thing is the same. You just put the truth in the background check. Nobody is going to, compare it with your resume. Resume is your advertisement. That's how people perceive it in the industry. Resume is just an advertisement. It's a flyer, right? You give people flyers. Your business card is the same thing. You just give them, but it's always better than you are, in real. In your business cards and your flyers, your advertisements, you always say this is the best restaurant, this is the best service, man, etc. Always like that. And this is basically your resume. Resume says this is amazing professional, the best in the world. Hire her or him. That's how it looks like. Then during the interview is basically, this is how the company checks that you really have that. So like it's kind of like a game with its own rules. You have to create your resume just to be invited to the interview. Then you have to prove your skills during the interview, and background check is just complete truth. That's the process. That's how you actually get the job in IT. Okay, very hard for juniors, but the market right now, yeah, but we are not focused on junior market. So Coco is asking, thank you, but the market right now seems very hard for juniors. So basically, we're not focused on juniors market. So what we are focused after the course is medium level or senior level. That's what we're focused on. If you really get the course, if you're really catching up everything that we have, you will apply for senior positions. Like Elvira said, she was offered lead position right away, and this has happened to myself as well. When I found my first job, I was offered lead position right away. So I joined. Seems like smart person. We have 3 people in India. Can you be a lead here and just lead them from here? And like there are 3 engineers in India, just to lead them. But you're here. We want to have somebody on site to work with, like a lead responsible for, and 3 people will be just doing work over there. So that's basically, if you're a smart person, you are not competing with juniors. You go to middle level or even senior level, and this is for manual QAs, it's competitive. But I'm suggesting you to learn automation, and that's another thing that we want to prove, right? That's why we do the free course. We give people an ability to try coding and to try automation as well, right? So you try and see, okay, this is not difficult. This is something I can do. Because right now the coding is basically like a building Lego bricks, right? You do the Lego, and you have, okay, this function, you have the code, you just copy and paste for clicking something. If I want to build the test, open the page, enter information into this field, enter information in this field, click this page, then I see the next page, check, it's displayed, everything, all the checks, all the steps, you have the code for it. So basically your goal as automation engineer right now, copy this, okay, I need function for clicking this button, okay, I need function for click, you put it in the code, it will click it. You just mentioned the button ID or button, the selector to find that button on the page, right? And this is basically the only thing you need to teach, learn, etc. Of course, it's overview, but it's that easy. It's not building something from scratch. If the modern coding is basically you have the libraries, you have everything already created for you. You just install it and use it, right? If you like, even in development, in order to, for example, to display a map in your application, that's it. You just download Google module, you install it in your application, and Google provide you instruction how to use it, and you just use it according to the instruction, copy the code snippets into your code, change them for your application, and voila, you have Google Maps in your application and how to interact with them. Very easy. That's basically how easy development and automation right now, and that's why we do the free course for people who don't have any experience with IT and just want to learn about profession. It's a free way for 3 weeks to learn about QA manual, coding, and automation. And also this course we had data science for the first time as well. So just to learn and understand, okay, this is something easy, I can do this, right? And that's why we give even discount for people who do the homeworks, like another motivation. So like it's a motivation to do homework, and the homework itself, it's a motivation to say, oh man, this is something I can do, right? This is okay. These are my test cases. These are my bug reports. Wow, you know. So that's easy, and that's why competition on manual QA. So what is manual QA? Basically, you test manually. There is a mobile application, right? Mobile application has requirements. If you click on it, it should open the homepage, and homepage should look like this. It should have this element logo. It should have, let's say, login field. It should have password field and login button, and then forgot password link. These are the requirements for the first page, and you basically follow them. Okay, I open the application. Is this page open? Yes, this page is open. Then does it have logo? Yes, it have logo. Okay, does it have login page? Yes. Does it have password field? Yes. Does it have login button? Yes. Does it have forgot password link? Yes. And then you read how they work. What if I enter incorrect password? What it will be? So you have all the requirements describing all the behavior of this page, and you basically manually typing, doing this. This is manual testing. If you write code that does that, this is automation testing, right? So this is basically different. And automation testing, it's 6 months course, and way less competition and higher salaries. Like if you ask me about, okay, if I graduate the course, what would I ask for a salary? So I would say for manual, ask at least like 35, 40 per hour. That's a minimum. If you are being asked to get a job for something less than that, I would say, think twice, or maybe take 10 times before taking that. So look for something $35, $40 per hour, like $80,000 a year. Automation, 100, 120. So I have right now a student working in my company, 150K a year. That's the salary, just 1 year after the course. So that's basically what you're looking for, right? And you should not compete with those junior people. You should compete with middle or senior level. And this is about manual. For automation, just learn automation to have less competition, because automation requires additional knowledge. It requires coding knowledge. So then based on that, you learn automation. So it takes 6 months for you, but then it's less competition. Why? Because less people learn that. Many people are afraid of, they think I cannot do coding, right? It's something complex. I will start with manual QA, then I will work for some time, and then I will switch to automation. No, don't do that. Learn automation right away. It will be easier for you. Less competition, higher salaries, less stress, and etc. So yeah, that's basically what we do. We still do manual QAs because we broke down courses to levels. The first level is QA plus coding. And the goal is by the end of the course for people to understand, okay, I know QA, I can already apply for QA jobs, and they do that. And in parallel, they learn coding. So by the end of the course, to understand, hey, I know coding, I can do this, right? I've got so many points on Code Wars. I solve complex tasks right now. I look cool. So just to give them understanding that coding is not difficult. And after that, they just take level 2 automation, 3 more months, and they are automation engineers. So that's what we do. And you don't have a lot of competition there. It's less. It's still competition, of course. I will be not saying that there is no competition. There is competition, but I mean it's less. Thank you for the input. It was really helpful listening to this meeting. It's time to meet. Okay. Goodbye, Harshit. Learn automation right away. 100% agree. Thanks, Elvira. Okay, so let me share my screen and show you LinkedIn, just to give you some overview of the market. So this is how I do, right? So you go to jobs. Are you actually able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. So basically over here, just manual tester. You can put manual QA analyst, manual tester, whatever. You try different names because company call positions differently sometimes. So you have to use different job titles to actually find a job. Okay, so this is what I do. If you just like manual testers in the United States, you will get, this is how many results, how many jobs open. And actually, this is not a lot. This is not a lot. Like maybe 3 years ago, it was 1,000 jobs on the market. Then at some point, maybe like a year ago, the peak was like 11,000 jobs on the US market. Right now it's 3,000, but it's still okay. So this is what we do. So what you can do, if you live in some big metropolitan area like Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, for example, San Francisco, Bay Area, and etc. So you can look in that specific location if they have a lot of jobs, and you can work for some on-site jobs, right, in the office. However, you know, a lot of jobs right now are remote, so we are not focused on anything. For example, I work remotely. My company is located still in California. I'm in California. My company is in California. But a lot of our people that hired in the last 2 years are remote from all over the United States. Somebody from Florida, from New York, from Chicago, from Denver, from anywhere else, right? From all the time zones that we have in the United States. Many people even from abroad, from Costa Rica, from Brazil, and etc. So we work, a lot of people working remotely right now. So we work remotely. Why? Because in your city, especially if you're not the big city, it can be like 3 positions all open. You apply for them, you go to the interview, you got rejected, and that's it, right? Plus, even if there are jobs in your city, do you really want to commute every day and go to the office and then commute back and waste of your just commute back and forth? I don't. When I tried you know, on remote job, I don't want to do that. I wake up, have a shower, you know, make coffee, and I'm working already. I don't commute anywhere, and etc. So that's very, very convenient for me. That's why I look always United States. I don't care in which state that position is located. I look in the United States. So you look for remote to get less results. Okay, we get less. Oh, not too less. So see, it was 3,200 all them, and most of them, as you can see, 2,700 are remote. So as you can see, many companies, they just switch to remote jobs. And then what you do, past 24 hours. That's it. So this is what you get. For this, you can look for QA analyst, manual QA, and etc. You try many different queries to find different positions. Not all of them still will be manual QA positions. You will have to go through them and read precisely what they're asking for. Sometimes even development positions somehow get into this search result, but it's okay. You are not able to apply for so many jobs in one day. If you apply for 50 jobs, I will say it's okay, because you go to apply, you have to fill out different forms and etc. Right? So this is one. How do I do? I have to log in, see, create my profile on Dice, and etc. So sometimes it's a lot of effort to even apply now. Here it is. So I have to log in here and etc. So there you fill out the form. You know, you put your details, you upload your resume, and etc. So it takes time. Some of them are easy apply over here. Easy apply. This is apply for with LinkedIn, whatever you have in LinkedIn. Very easy. So this is preferred mine. So maybe there's easy apply. You can even select easy apply. Okay, there's 100 of those. So apply for them. But if you select easy apply, maybe there is a really good job that is not easy apply, right? So I would play with it. It's up to you. You play with it. You try easy apply one day. You try different, not easy apply other day, and you apply. This is more than you can apply a day. Tomorrow there will be more than 300 jobs again. Day after tomorrow, it will be 300 jobs, new jobs again. This is more than enough for you to apply every day. You apply like 50 jobs a day. In like 2 or 3 weeks, you start getting calls. It takes time for them to process. You will start getting calls. Recruiters first, checks. Not all of them will lead to the next level of the interview, but some will. And you start going to the interviews. Start going to the interviews. Start answering questions. Some of them you fail, some of them you get the job offer, and that's it. This is what you start with. So this is for manual tester, let's say. QA automation engineer. So what do we have here? Yeah, similar situation, 300 results, right? And you go and look for same thing. You look, but see, salaries are higher, right? This is remote, right? It doesn't say the location. From 100K to 140K for a position. And you apply. You apply for those. Let's read. As that remote or hybrid. Irvine, actually, this is where my company is located at. So 5 years as that. C++, C#, XUnit. So if you know this framework, you just apply for this position. That's it. This is what you get. You ask for, let's say you ask for 140 after the interview. If they don't have such amount or are not ready to give you, they will tell you, okay, we can give you 125 maximum. And you decide, will I go for 125 or not? That's basically how it looks like. And go and apply. This is how the job market looks like right now. A lot of people are worrying about, hey, there were some layoffs in big companies. Yes, they were some layoffs, but when we had layoffs, we had the probably the biggest quantity of jobs in the market. So at that time, when we had layoffs like a year ago, right now, as you can see, I look for US positions. It's like 3,000 positions. Why is that? Summer, vacation periods, a lot of people are out of the office, not hiring, actively not working. That's exactly why. If you will probably, once we get to the fall, probably September, October, it will be way more. It will be like maybe 10,000 positions on the job market. In one day, it will be not 300, it will be like 1,000 positions a day added to the job market. So that's how it will look like. And again, you don't even need so many, right? It's still a lot of jobs. Even if some companies were firing people, it's not that critical, because, for example, my company didn't fire anybody. We were hiring people, and we're still hiring people because we need more people to do the job. We have a lot of job to do, and we hire people. Why those big companies were firing people? Because I will tell you the story how I worked at Apple. 20% of people were doing 80% of work, and 80% of other people were doing only 20% of work. So you want to get in companies like Google, Apple, Netflix, just to get a salary and do like a little work, do nothing, basically. Go and relax, go and play tennis, because it's so, so nice to work at Google. You have free food, you have those massage chairs, you have those sleeping capsules. So nice, right? To work at Apple or Google or Netflix and etc., right? That's what people, how people were working at those companies. So of course, those companies at some point they realize we have 10,000 people doing nothing, right? So we have to optimize our processes. That was the wording for all those companies. We need to optimize our workforce, and of course, they were laying off people because of ineffective work. The entire departments. If you have a department, you pay them. You have like basically imagine, right? You have 10 people. You pay 100K each people. You spend $1 million a year for that department. And if people are not showing results, get off. That's it. Terminate. So in those companies, many projects were like test projects, right? They're trying to explore different markets. You know, they sometimes you see Apple wants to build a autonomous car, right? So they hire people doing that. If at some point they realize the product they are building is not competitive, they will not be able to compete with Tesla, for example. At some point, they will close that project and they will fire all those people. That's how it works. So sometimes projects are temporary. Sometimes companies realize, okay, we have a lot of projects that we're spending a lot of money for. Let's try to, you know, one top level manager comes and says, okay, I need to fix the workforce problem. Let me see what we have. Let me check the budget. They check. Okay, they say, okay, we have to, you know, terminate this project. We have to terminate that project. So at some point, one person can terminate 10,000 people. If you have some, you know, some person comes to fix problems in the company, a lot of changes are happening. So those are not like problems. Many companies were not firing people. Many companies were just created. Many startups were created and they were opening positions, right? And hiring people, even when Google, Apple, and etc. were firing people. And even I had friends who were laid off, but that's not a problem. If you have experience, you go to the job market and find another job. Not a problem at all. Okay. Any questions? Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Hey, Arthur. So can you touch on the background check piece just a bit more? Like, totally get how the resume is the interview to get a foot in door for the interview, but you know, so let's just say it's going good, and so how do you say like, okay, I've been working in customer service these last 5 years, you know, let's just say hypothetically, and then, but obviously you have the skills, right? I know you have the skills for the job from your course, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just maybe elaborate a little more? I don't know.
So background check is done when you already got the job offer. So let's imagine I'm hiring, right? I'm a hiring manager. I'm hiring. So I conduct an interview. So I like this person. I send this person to the next level, to engineers. Then the third level will be cultural fit, right? And see if those people would like to work with this person. Okay, so everybody said yes, let's give the job offer. So we give this person job offer. Then HR comes to me and asks, okay, when you want this person to start? And I said, as soon as possible. So they say, okay, I will go and reach out to this candidate and ask. So candidate says, okay, I can start as soon as possible. Then HR says, okay, so we just basically need to fill out the forms, complete the background check, and if that can be done in a week, that person can start next Monday, for example, right? So I say, okay. Then what happens next? I just wait for a week. HRs come to me, says, okay, background check is done. Alan, for example, is set to start on Monday. I say, okay, great, that's it. That's the process. I never see background checks. HRs never see the background checks. So basically, we want background checks just to pass. So that company is able to confirm the information you provided them. So if you work as a tile installer, in the background check, you forget about your resume. Just forget about resume. You put whatever you have in your real life. Tile installer, so many years. Here is my employer, phone number, email, whatever they want. And that's only in the case if they want to check your work experience. Because as Elvira mentioned, in her case, there was nothing like that. They just checked criminal check. It's must have criminal check, and something else. They maybe check some other records, some home address, something like that, a home history, and etc. So not in all the background checks they check the work history, but if they do check your work history, you mentioned the 100% proof. That's basically it. You want to get those check marks, and HR will come to your hiring manager and say, background check is done. Mike is set to start next Monday. And that's how it works. So I never heard that people have problems with the background check. This is what our students do. I had one problem when one of my students tried to put the resume information in the background check, and they started asking for pay stubs from that non-existing job and etc. Right? That was a problem. But basically, if you put that's what we say. Okay, a resume is one thing; it's just your advertisement. Then you get the job offer after the successful interviews, and in background check you say the truth, because you don't want to. In the background check is not to prove your professional history. Background check is just to get the check marks from that third-party company. Remember, background checks are done by third-party company. The third-party company doesn't have your resume, doesn't have anything you have. That third-party company is basically provide you a link. Hey, tell us about yourself, and we will check that. So whatever you put in that form, they will check. And that's not done by HRs. That's not done by your hiring manager. That's done by third-party company. And third-party company doesn't know what position you applied for. Do you have necessary skills or something like that? They don't care. They provide subscription services to your company to just do your background check, and background check based on what you provide in that form. So, and what they send back, report with check marks and sometimes the description, but nobody checks that, because this is how it works. And it worked even for me for management positions, right? Because nobody checks that. I never saw background check even as a hiring manager. I hire people, but I never saw background check. I just being notified that has been done, and the candidate has cleared to start next week. That's it. So, and that's exactly why 70% of managers don't care, know that people lie in the resume, and 78% say that they don't care. That's how it works. Because if you think even logically, it's kind of like stupid that that people somehow has to get experience, but all the job descriptions start from 5 years. So where are the job descriptions for people? There is none, right? So how is that even possible? So everybody knows about that. So people somehow have to adjust themselves to the market. Basically, if you're the smart person, if you can do that, so that's like another kind of selection that tell them, okay, this is a smart enough person to actually do that and be able to get to the interview. So that's all like, selection process. You have to play those. If you play basketball, you play basketball rules. If you play soccer, you play soccer rules. Same here. If you play this game, you play according to its rules. And the rules are the following. You have to have 5 years of experience in your resume. You have to tell the truth in your background check, and you have to prove your skills through the interview. That's pretty much it. That's what you do. And you get the job. Like other people, you will be not the first one who got the job after the courses, right?
No, you clarified. I think I definitely the background check employment history is different from, like, don't mix it with your resume.
Absolutely.
That's the clarification. I was like confused.
You forgot about the resume. Resume is just to bring you to the interview. Once you got to the interview, you forgot about your resume. That's it. It played its role. Okay. So guys, this is about you asking questions. I covered the job market. I covered job search process. So whatever you are interested in, courses, discounts, job search, clarifications on something, just feel free to ask. Go ahead. Go ahead, Dmitry.
Hi, I have a question regarding availability of jobs. for front-end developers or versus automation QA engineers. I heard an opinion from a couple of my friends that since there are physically more front-end developer jobs and software developer jobs in general, it's easier to find a junior position as a front-end developer, and then later, if market goes bad, it's easier to find your next job, not just the junior entry level, but the next job as a developer rather than a tester, just because there's like one tester for every 5 developers, something like that. What do you think about this idea?
According to my experience, it's more difficult. It depends. It depends what you know. So the easiest way to find the front-end developer job, and am I still? No, I'm not sharing my screen. Let me share my screen. The front-end developer job is the easiest way to find it is basically through automation. That's what the most of our students do. So because we tried, we had front-end course. So there was a path I can show you. Maybe there is a still image somewhere. Let me see, courses, automation, maybe here. Let me see. No, there is no such picture. Oh, I forgot where. Oh, there was a picture of the path. Man, I forgot. Okay, let me try to find it right now. Drive. I had the picture of what we had. So what we used to do, so basically people were learning QA and coding in parallel for 3 months, right? So they learn QA in JavaScript. Then they think, okay, whether they want to go to automation or front-end development. Because front-end development right now is the same thing as automation. You basically use very similar tools, but for front-end development, you use libraries to display some elements in the browser. For automation, you use the same tools, but libraries for opening browser and clicking something and checking something, right? So that's basically how it looks like. This is the difference. So basically, both of them use Node.js, same IDE, Git, and the tools and technologies are the same. The only differences are libraries. So front-end developers, the most popular right now is React. For automation, it's probably Cypress. Playwright right now is actually competing pretty well with Cypress, but let's say Cypress is still very popular. And basically, those are both are Node.js based frameworks, but you use React and modules to display something in browser, and Cypress will actually open the browser, but will click elements in the browser. So that's basically the difference. So it's very similar, and based on the JavaScript basics course, you can do both. But what we figured out, the questions during the interview process and the level of the coding knowledge, the baseline that they expect is much higher in front end than in automation. And salaries is not that big difference. So our students basically on front end, this is what the approach was for them to find the job. The approach was to actually go to interview, get a lot of questions you don't have answers for. Then after the interview, go and Google, research, watch videos, and find answers, consult with your teachers, and get answers for those questions. So then you get answers, you understand, okay, this is how it's done. Okay, now I know. Now I know how to solve that task, how to do that, how to answer that question. You go to the next interview. You answer those questions, but you get a couple more that you didn't have answers for. And you'll go through multiple iterations until you get all the answers to all the weird questions, right? And then you get a job. And all people that we had on the front end course, they all found a job as a front end developers. But it was much harder than automation. Automation, you learn, you go solve tasks, you show them, okay, this is how I can do, and you can easily find a job. So the easiest path that we figured out. So you learn automation, you work in automation like for 8 months, and then you switch to front end. That's much easier path. But let me show you what we used to do. I just want you to show you if I have that slide somewhere. Pictures. This is probably. Here it is. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
So this is what we used to have. We had 3 levels, and this is what you can do with JavaScript. That's why we choose JavaScript. So basically, everybody come to level number 1. Level number 1 is 3 months. So people learn manual QA and coding basics in parallel. This is for 4 lessons a week. This is what we do still. Then test automation, you have to know both manual QA and coding basics. So you get 3 more months and you become test automation. You cannot do test automation without those, because for test automation, you have to know manual QA, why we test and what we test. And also you have to know coding basics, because test automation is not about coding. Test automation is about using those libraries and those technologies, and they require you knowing coding already. So that's what we do. You learn this and this, and you go test automation. Front-end development required only coding. You don't have to know QA, but people were taking those in parallel all the time. Because why? You can go take those for the same price. Why not take them, right? So people were taking both and going to front-end development. Once you learn this, you can go and learn backend and become full stack, or learn mobile development, because it's again very, very similar. So another 3 months and you become mobile development or full stack development. So that's the path that we developed here at Techstart. And the everything we have, all our projects or our platforms and etc., that's done by us, because we have backend, we have mobile, we have front end, we have estimation. Everything is in our projects, and that's the same language, JavaScript, right? This is the only language that allows to do this. Because if you learn Python, you can go test automation, you can go data science, right? But there is no super popular front-end framework on Python. There is no super popular mobile development framework on Python, right? So that's the problem. If you go to Java, you can do test automation, you can do backend, but there is no super popular front-end framework on Java, right? So you cannot pick Java if you want to learn this as well. Because, for example, if I want to learn mobile development in Java, I have to come through all this path from the beginning and learn mobile development on Java. So I have to learn Java coding basics and then learn mobile development, right? Yeah, but if with JavaScript, so that's what we do. We learn manual QA in this, then test automation. Then if you work here, you can go from here to here. This is the easiest path. Easiest path is test automation and front-end development. That's basically what we do. Okay, did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you. But there's a part 2 to this. So as I understood, it's easier to enter the market as QA automation engineer. I understand that. What about after, let's say, after a year of being a QA automation engineer versus a year being a junior web developer? How stable is the job? Let's say when big companies fire people en masse like right now. Do front-end developers have easier time finding a job later on in their career path, not at the beginning, or not?
No, I think it's the same. The reason is very simple. The difference is when you are like project manager, right, or something like that. That's when it's hard to find a job. But if you take any application, you take mobile application, right, it has to be tested. Everything has to be tested. So if you choose any team, it will have couple developers, couple testers, one business analyst, let's say, and one scrum master, something like that, right? There will be only one project manager and etc. So if you kind of like one of those personalities that just want a single person and etc. in a team, you have a less chance to find a job, because for one team you just need one of those. But you have to have couple developers, both front end and back end, and you have testers, both manual and automation, right? So testers and developers, this is probably the highest numbers in all the companies. So you always need those. You may have couple data analysts in the company, right? You can have couple marketing people, but you will have 100 developers and 100 testers all the times. So you cannot develop without testing. You can do that in a small startup for maybe a couple months, but that's it. Then you have to hire a tester to test all of that, because you will stuck with with a lot of problems and your product will not be successful. So that's basically why it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter whether you develop or automation. And also another thing, you should not worry about firing and etc. It's if you work well, nobody is going to fire you. The company is firing ineffective projects, ineffective people. If you just work, if you come to work and do your job, you are not going to be fired. And right now there is a trend. People are working on 2 or 3 jobs in parallel because you can do your job basically in 4 hours sometimes. And if you do your job in 4 hours, nobody's going to track your time and say, oh, okay, Dmitry, you didn't work for 8 hours today. Nobody cares. You have a task today, you completed it, good job. You completed it in 3 hours, you can spend time with your family, you can go to restaurant, you can go to grocery, you can go whatever you want, right? You do whatever you want. So what people do, they work in couple jobs parallel, and they get 2 sellers, 3 sellers. There are even cases on Reddit when one developer worked in 5 jobs and he was getting 1,200,000 a year. That's what people do crazy. But I mean, like, it's not a big deal whether to be developer or automation. It's not a big deal to be laid off, because you are not going to be if you just do your job. Nobody's going to fire you. Even if you're getting fired because you were working good but in ineffective team, believe me, it's not a problem. 1 month and you will get another job. Because if you professional, other companies will hire you right away. We have a lot of openings and we'll look for people, and unfortunately we cannot find good people to join us. That's the problem. There is no good people to work in the company. There is no problem with job. There's a lot of jobs. We want to find good people to join us. That's the problem. So yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
But can I ask another question then?
Absolutely.
So you mentioned there are a few roles in the software development team: a product owner and Scrum Master. As I heard, Scrum Master is actually the easiest way into the IT industry, much easier than even a tester, because you just need to be a generalist facilitator, negotiator, right?
Yeah, you need to be general facilitator, but how many Scrum Masters per team? 1. And often there is no separate Scrum Master role. Often in many teams, one of the team members plays that role. Tester can play Scrum Master role, developer can play, product owner or business analyst can play that role. So often there is no separate role, and there is no separate people just doing Scrum Mastering. That's one thing. So basically, even if you select how many people, so let's say you have a startup and they build a first team, 10 people, they will have 4 developers, 4 testers, 1 product owner, and let's say 1 product manager. That's it. One of them will be playing Scrum Master role. There is even no Scrum Master in that team, but will be 4 testers and 4 developers, right? So you have 8 people in those professions and 0 Scrum Masters. That's the problem. So even if you take any other team, any other company, there is always a lot of developers, a lot of testers, because you have to produce code and you have to test code. And you may have just a couple more people to analyze, to organize processes, and etc. So basically, you don't need so many business analysts. You don't need so many Scrum Masters as you need developers or testers, because the main thing that you produce is a code, and that code has to be tested. So that's why there are always developers and testers. And some people. I was even thinking about that. So think about it. You may think, why do we need even testers? Why we just don't have developers testing? Which is logical, right? Teach developers to test. Why do you need separate role? Automation, manual tester, why do you need that? Because that's effective. You pay developer, let's say you have a good developer, senior developer, you pay the developer 180K, maybe 200K a year, right? So let's say that developer spends his time for doing something. So let developers spend his time on what he can do the best, for coding, right? Creating code efficiently, quickly. If you make that developer work, you pay 200K for testing, which doesn't make sense. Let developer do his job and let hire tester for $35, $40 an hour, 80K a year, and let them do the job, manual testing. If you want to do automation, don't make developers doing that, because it's too expensive automation testing. Hire automation tester for 130, 120K, and let them do that. So if you want automation testing, you pay 120K for that. If you want development, you pay 180K for that. If you want manual, you pay 80K for that, right? That's why. So so companies don't think about, hey, we just want to be cool and developers do everything. It's super expensive. It's even right now, what we did in our company, we hired a bunch of automation engineers, but manual testing still needs to be done. So we end up with many automation engineers just doing manual testing, which is super expensive. You pay people for automation job, but they test manually. Absolutely ridiculous. You just waste money. So we hire more manual testers right now to do manual work. So we allow automation engineers focus on automation and actually use those money that we pay them efficiently. And developers do just development work and use those money efficiently. So that's why there's always a room for manual testing, because we create applications for people, and nobody can test better than people. Application made for people, right? Automation is good, but automation is good for those types of testing that you have to repeat. So you create test one time and then repeat it a lot of times. That is very efficient. There are some testing types that you have to repeat every 2 weeks, right? And you run some of them you run daily. So you create it one time, you spend like maybe a couple hours for one test, but you run it every single day. So like you invested your time once and then you just run it as many times as you want. For manual testing, if you test a new functionality, let's say you need to quickly test that page opens, the button is blue, and etc. In automation, you will spend a day doing that. In manual, you spend like 30 minutes. So that's why manual is always there, because for testing something new that you just developed, manual testing is must-have because it's quickly and cheap. You have people working for $80,000 a year or $100,000 a year, and they just do manual testing. It's quick and right away, right, and cheap. And then you have some other types of testing, smoke, regression, that are repetitive, that run daily, for example, or once a week, right? Those make sense as well, because you spend maybe one day, but you will be using them 1,000 times, right? Or something that requires quick actions, or something that requires a lot of users to simulate a lot of users. Those are for automation testing. So there is always room for manual because it makes sense. It's logical, it's quick, and it's cheap. There is room for automation because there are some tests that needs to be created once and run multiple times. That's for automation. It makes sense just to focus automation on that. And they don't do anything that it's done once. If you do something once, it's manual. Do something multiple times or quick or simulate many users, that's automation. And then developers do their job. That's how it works. That's how efficient company looks like. That's why this is work like this. So I would not worry about manual. I would not worry about automation. Some people worry about, hey, there is AI getting popular right now. Maybe it's going to replace all the professions. It's still okay. So we were expecting truck drivers to be replaced 5 years ago, and they're still there, and they're not replaced. So it's still okay. I think we should not be worrying about that. It's about all our life. It's about adjust to whatever happens, right? To be dynamic. So it happened to humanity many times, revolutions and etc. Many things happen. Sometime many years ago, like one factory had like 3,000 people. Right now, the same factory is managed by 100 people plus a bunch of robots. But nobody does, right? Those people work on other jobs. Same here. If in any day in the future, some AI will replace your job, it's okay. You will take other courses that will be popular on that time and just will change your occupation, your profession. That's not a big deal. Smart. You just have to be smart and proactive, and you will always have a job and never will have problems. That's what I can promise you 100%. If you're smart, you're motivated, proactive, you never have problems. That's what we always look for. We don't have problems with quantity of people. We have problems with really motivated people that really want to do the job, not just sit and get salary for doing nothing, but really do the job. So that's what we are looking for, and that's what we lack on the market right now. Okay. Any other questions? I'm just reading the chat. Scrum Master is the busiest person. Yeah. Guys, not certifications. There's a question about certifications. Most of the companies will not require any certification. I don't have any certification. And I was always successful as being as a manual tester, as an automation tester, as a lead, as a manager, never had any certification. Sometimes specific companies, right, they use specific tools and they want you to have specific certification in AWS, for example. But in most of the cases, even they don't require you to have it right now. They will require you to start the job and get it, right? Spend some time for education. So even most of the companies will even not reject you if they really want some certification because they use specific tools. They will still hire you and just will let you to get that certification after you hired. My company uses AWS heavily. I never worked with AWS before. It's Amazon Web Cloud, Amazon Web Services, and I never used it before. I joined, I played with it, followed a couple guides, how it's being used. Sometimes I needed to do something, couple developers showed me how to do something, and that's it. You learned it. Slowly, you learn that, and that's it. And my company never required certification, so that's how it works. You don't need any certifications. You just need to be active and motivated person to be successful. And of course, to get a job, of course, because most of the people will be looking for independent, proactive, motivated personalities, right? That's what is important, because you don't want to babysit anybody as a manager. You want somebody to come, to be adult and say, okay, whatever you want, I will do this for you. If I don't know something, I will learn it. Openly, confidently say that, and you will be hired. My friend is trying to learn automation testing, but his English is quite poor. What are his chances? So English, the level of English. We have a lot of students. Most of our students are immigrants. That's what happens to most of the people. They come from different countries to the United States, and they try to find a new profession here, right? So, and they end up with, let's learn QA, let's learn automation. And since they are new immigrants, in a lot of cases, they have a bad English. But what level of English you need to have? It's basically to be able to understand me. This course is an example. So you come to the free course, you try to understand me. If you understand me, that's it. If you can ask me a question so I can understand. I don't care about your grammar. I don't care about words you use. If I'm able to understand your question and answer it, and you are able to understand my answer, that's pretty much that you want to have. Because if you, during the interview, you are able to understand people and answer the question just on basic level, so they are able to understand. And if you're a nice person and you answer the questions, they will hire you. Nobody cares about English. They care about communication. It's of course not about some top management level positions where you have to communicate with clients and etc. Of course, they will have to have some good communication skills and etc. But I mean, like for regular engineering positions, there are a lot of people with bad English. A lot of people working from abroad remotely, and nobody cares. Everybody cares about the end result. If they are able to give you the task and you're able to understand it, you're able to reply and say, I will work on this, and then produce the result and report that you are done with that. That's it. That's all you need. Plus, what we suggest when we create resume and prepare for the interview, we suggest create a story in native language, translate it, and learn it. So you have all those words, phrases for the interview, right? Story about yourself, about your projects, also answers for some common questions. So you have those phrases, you just need to learn them. And you learn them, that will be beneficial for your just life, because you learn new words, new phrases, new sentences. And plus, you go to interviews, you hear some new words, new questions, you answer them. Then you analyze the results of your interview, go back, do the homework after the interview. So basically you add couple more answers to the questions into your story, again, in your native language, and translate it to English and learn that in English. That's what I showed people in Google Translate. You write in your native language, it translates, then you click the button play, and it tells you, actually pronunciates those sentences for you. So you just remember to learn them, and you have the story about yourself in English, but you have to learn it, learn it, and then you have phrases, you have words, you have sentences to answer questions during the interview. And of course, for your life, to communicate with people, new words are always good. So that's basically what we do. That's what I did in 10 years ago when I was looking for my first job. I didn't know English because I used to learn German in school in the university. So actually, I had to learn English from scratch. And my cheat to find the first job was actually to do like this, to learn English, learn story about myself, because I started going to the interviews, and all of them require English. Whether even if despite the fact that it was in Ukraine, most of the companies, they still required English, to communicate with companies around the globe. And I had to learn. This was my cheat. I created a story about myself in Ukrainian, translated, learned in English, and my English was so bad, but that story, I knew that perfectly. I just was using those words during the interview perfectly. So if I stuck with some new questions that was not familiar to me during the interview, after the interview, I came and again added those to my story, learned them again, and for the next interview, I was better prepared. So that's basically how you do. What about 60 plus age? For example, we just hired person like that in my company. She's super nice. She's like older woman, and she's super nice. After even the first interview, I said she will be hired, because as I mentioned, 90% of your success is what kind of person you are. If you're nice, and she was nice, smiling, joking, being honest, open, and that's it. You feel like this is a really good person to work with. Of course, you have to check then if she has or he has needed skills. Those people get the skills, prove their skills during the technical interview, and that's it. You hire them. That's what we just did, and she's amazing. I think she's one of the gems in our team. Amazing. And we just have a group right now that has the last lesson today. There's a group ending QA manual course today, and the most successful student there, the most responsible, the most proactive, is also older woman, and she's amazing as well. So basically, I think that's not a big deal. So we have, and especially in the United States, you don't have any pictures in your resume. You don't have any age in your resume. Nobody treats you as older, younger, and etc. People usually don't stay longer than 2 years. So for you, basically, it doesn't really matter if person is 60 plus, 50 plus, 20 plus, they will stay approximately for 2 years in this company. So even if this is 60 plus, you're not looking for somebody to stay for 20 years. In those like old-fashioned companies, when you look for somebody to be with you the entire life, till pension, till being retired, then maybe yes, it matters. But in IT companies, people don't stay for too long. They stay for a couple years. Of course, some people stay for longer, but I mean like medium time of working in IT companies, like 2 years. So you don't expect people, you don't treat them based on age. You just look for nice people to work with. If there is a 60 plus person comes to the interview and she or he is amazing, you just hire them. I worked with Apple. We hired a man. It was older man, and she was great. He was great. Right now, we hired older woman, and she's absolutely great. She's amazing, I would say. So yeah, nobody cares about that.
Is it okay to not mention the dates when you went to university on your resume? Because from that they can understand, even if there's no picture on your resume, they can understand how old you are just by looking.
I mean, like, you as you are a hiring manager, you have the rules. You don't treat people based on their religion or gender or age or something like that. You don't care. That's what I just explained. Even if you know the age, because even if I don't see the information on the resume, I I do the first interview, right? My first interview is with me, with hiring manager. I do the interview just to learn about person, ask some general questions, and understand whether that person needs to be sent to the technical interview or not, right? So I see the age of the person. We have the cameras on, we talk, and I see. But if this is an amazing person, I mean, like, why should you like reject somebody? There are rules, right? You don't reject, and you may have problems with that, with the law. If you try to, if you really have some bias or something like that about people, different genders or something, you will have problems. This is first thing. But even, even if you have the interview, you just treat people based on their skills. You just see if this is an amazing person. Who cares? You once you get more and more experience, you just realize, people come and leave. You don't care about, like, you are not thinking, okay, she's 60 plus, so she will not work with us like more than 5 years. So maybe I need to consider hiring somebody else who will stay for 20 years. It's not a case for IT. In IT, you're just lucky if people stay for 2 years. Sometimes people come, work for a day, and leave. They say, oh, I'm sorry, I just got another job offer that I was waiting for. And they just work for one day and just leave next day. Sometimes and that can happen to you. That happens to many students. When you actually look for a job, you're being interviewed, and then you have your dream job. You got the interview, seems like everything went well, but they are not sending you a job offer. They're still deciding. You got another job offer, you accept it, you started working, and the next day your dream job offer comes. What would you do? Of course you leave. You don't think how bad somebody will feel or something. You leave. Nobody will care about you if tomorrow they will need to fire people. So you never care about the company like that as well. If you have your dream job, everybody will understand. Family first, that's one rule. If you have troubles with your family, nobody will expect from you to do something. You have to care of your family, even if you have some work to do. You will finish it later, no problems. Somebody will cover you. Family first, your personality first. So if you want to get your dream job, you just leave. They will find another person to fill this role. They will consider other candidates they were interviewing and that were rejected because they hired you. No worries about that. So you leave. So sometimes people leave after one day. Sometimes people leave after a couple months. In most of the cases, people work for 2 years maximum. That's why. So you don't care. We hire old people. I have a lot of experience with that. Never saw the problems. Maybe there are some companies, maybe there are some specific people that don't hire, but in most of the cases, nobody will reject you based on your age or based on your, I don't know, gender or something like that. People will hire based on how they like you during the interview. If you behave well, if you're a nice person, they will hire you because they will feel good. They will feel safe. Okay, this is a nice person. I will not have troubles with this person. I will have good time working with this person once we hire this person. That's it. That's the main feeling that people just have emotionally. They feel emotionally. It's hard to explain that, but you feel if you're comfortable with this person or not during the interview. That's the main decision that are getting made. Then, after that, once the decision is made, they compare, okay, if I have 10 people with the same feelings, then I pick who answered questions better, right? But usually it's not the case. Usually you have one, maximum 2 people that you feel comfortable with, and you just hire them right away. You usually make decision during the interview in the first 10 minutes. You keep asking questions, but you already understand, okay, seems like this is the right person. That's how what it basically happens. So yeah, nothing to worry about. Just be nice, be honest, and job is yours. Of course, you have to have knowledge, right? You cannot just go to the interview being a nice person and not answering all the questions, because it's still like not guarantee you 100%. It gives you 90% of success, but then you have to do the rest to 100% to get a job 100%, right? So you have to have skills, you have to have experience from your courses. And that's why it's important to find courses with practice, so you get a really practical experience, because the theory is good, but if you don't have practical experience, it's very easy to check. I just ask you a couple of questions about what your responsibilities are, what you do on the project, how big is your team, okay, how long you work on this part, how long is your sprint, okay, how many days you work on this, what happens in this specific situation, what if developer tells you that it's not a bug, how you would act. If you have experience, you know what to do. If you don't have experience, you stuck right away. You don't have answers for those questions. Of course, you can get better. If you go through multiple interviews, rejections, you then figure out how to answer those questions. And eventually, even with theoretical knowledge, after many rejections, if you do the homeworks, you will get the job offer. But of course, if you have practice, you know how to answer those questions right away. So that's basically it. It's not difficult. It's job search in our course is like a homework. We say, this is your homework for today. Start applying for jobs. 30 jobs minimum. Next day, we check the homework. Okay, show me the job that you applied for. This is the homework. We like push people to do that. So, and for you, it's same as learning JavaScript or learning QA or learning something else. You learn exactly what you actually you learn something, right? It takes energy. You have to focus. Same thing going to the interviews. It's not pleasant. People are afraid of going to the interviews, but you know that this is the way to get the job. So I have to go. I have to have that conversation, and you have to understand that you should not expect any job offer from and should not worry about that. Should not be in stress. Just go and prepare for a conversation. That's it. Prepare yourself for a conversation. You go there, you are relaxed, you communicate well with people, you're smiling, you're happy, they like you, and they give you the job offer. So that's interesting fact that you don't expect offer. You're more relaxed and you have higher chances to get a job offer. If you expect the job offer from this interview, you start worrying about how you answer questions, and then you fail. So basically, don't expect any job offer, just relax and you get a job. I can talk about this, many hours, and that's why we have the last month of the course just about, because it's all about talking a lot, ensuring people, showing examples. Okay, let's do the mock interview. Okay, let's try it. Okay, here's my feedback. Here, say, it's better to say this in this case, right? So it's hard work. It's a lot of preparation, but I mean, like, it's doable. It's nothing difficult. Just you need to do this. The only thing you need to understand, a lot of people went through this path. A lot of people, and a lot of people are still going. It's like a departing train. There are people in this train. They just depart, and they will go to that station with a job. So your choice is basically either jump in on this train, and this is the way you have to do this, or wait for something else, maybe for the next train, right? So that's basically how it works. So there are other people. They go this way and they will get a job. So you're basically, the main question you need to answer is just whether I need to join these people or not. Because this is just something that needs to be done. And what I learned, it works for everything. It works. So some people think, okay, starting a company like my own company, IT company, with building something amazing, something new, getting investments for that, and being billionaire is something difficult. It's not. You just have to do this. You always have some fear when you start something, right? It's always some work, but it's doable. Always is doable. That's what I learned during my life. So I see those people doing something. If you're just doing something, keep doing something, it happens. Because there are like 99% of people not doing anything. And that's why there is only 1% doing something and they succeed, just because of they keep doing something. They may fail, they may hit some bumps, they may hit some blockers, but they keep doing, keep doing, keep doing, keep doing. You know, sometimes you think, okay, how to start a company? I have to do this, and oh man, it's sounds so complex, right? But then you start doing something, and it happens. You say, okay, what do I do next? Okay, I'll figure out. Then you do next. Okay, what should I do? I have to go and communicate with some people on LinkedIn and ask for investments, you know, and something like that. Oh, it looks crazy, but what you do, you start sending those letters. Nobody's responding. You keep. Then you read articles how to be more successful in sending those letters to people and getting investors and etc. You watch some videos. You start doing that, you know, and it starts happening. Maybe something else then looks crazy. How to, maybe you got investments, how to hire people, how to grow to 1,000 people, you know, and etc. And it sounds crazy if you just get back 5 years ago and somebody tells you that you will get investments and you will hire 1,000 people, you will think that, oh, it's crazy, but you just keep doing, you know, and you solve problems as they come, and everything is possible. So if you do that, the problems of people that just try to find courses, learn profession, and just find the job going through the interview process, it's so easy, it's straightforward. You have instructors, you have the course, you have mentors that tell you what to do, you just need to follow their guidance. That's it, right? So those people who build businesses, who build startups, getting investments, they look at your problems as nothing because they went through that already, right, many years ago. So basically, if you change the, you know, your vision and you try to understand that there's nothing difficult and other people doing more complex things daily, regular people like you, this is nothing. Looking for a job, learning something is nothing. Just a couple months and you get a new profession. That's it. Tomorrow you want to learn web development, nothing. You learn it and find a job. It may be not easy. I mean, like, it's not just like this. You have to go through the interview process, but you have a path. You go, you fail, you remember all the questions, you go and research how to correctly answer those questions, you learn that, you go to another interview, you try to be better, you get rejected, you go, you get another question that you didn't answer, you go to another, you do another homework. There is a path, very clear path. You learn those answers, you go to another one, and eventually you get the job offer. Very easy. You just need to expect that you can be rejected. And your goal is to go there and collect those questions you don't have answers for. That's it. Nothing difficult, guys. Hey, any other questions? Okay. If there is no questions, thank you for being here. We actually spent 2 hours already for talking about this. Okay, for those who's not in, I'll give you an ability to ask questions in a second. Just let me finish. So for those who are not on the platform, please register on the platform. For those who are not in our Slack, register in our Slack, and just you can keep asking any questions in the chat. As you can see, we are very responsive. All the questions that are asked in the chat are being answered. We have a lot of community, big community there. We keep all the groups there. We don't remove anybody. Just, you know, go there, join, and ask any questions if you will have any other questions. Yeah, thank you for coming today. For those who were joining the course and who were taking the classes on the course, this free course, good job, guys. You still have 2 weeks to complete homeworks and get the discount. And for everybody else, thank you also for coming, for your great questions. It was a pleasure working with you. I hope that I actually could help you with understanding something better, with clarifying your questions and etc. Yes, Samara, do you have any question?
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I would just like to thank you for everything you said. It inspired me to keep doing what I'm doing, even though it's a rough patch. But yes, I've been through so many interviews within the past probably 6 months now, and I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna keep trying my best to get my hopefully web developer job full-time remote. Hopefully that's what I'm trying and aiming for. But everything you said is true and it makes sense. And thank you for confirming everything that I'm doing. So hopefully I'm on the right path, pretty much.
Yeah, no problem, Amira. And even your problem is a goal for somebody, because some people say, oh, I don't have interviews. You're so lucky to have interviews. So some people are dreaming of interviews and you have it already. So basically it's really perspective, your perspective, how you look at the things. So yeah, even your problems are a dream for somebody else, so yeah, keep going, and I wish you good luck with that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I must have probably 10 interviews like you as well, and I guess I wasn't ready at the time, but I feel like I'm more ready now. But now the challenge is trying to get more interviews again. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Absolutely. Good luck with that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Any questions? Okay. Then thank you for joining, guys, and I wish you good luck and would love to see you on the main course. Bye-bye.